Okay, my little cucarachas, we are going to finish up our fractions for the week. Today, we are thinking backwards. All week, we've been decomposing the fractions. We've been making bigger units into smaller units by drawing those lines across. This time, we got to do it backwards. This time, the lines are drawn across, and they want us to make it bigger units. So forget the lines are there. So we're going to do it a different way today, so pay attention or you'll have your thoughts backwards. And so what we're doing today, instead of decomposing and breaking it down, we're composing. We're making it into bigger pieces. And so if we look at this first example here, we've got 2/4. So 1, 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 4. But it wants us to tell how many fourths is the same thing as halves. So we can split this box into halves. I'm going to do it with a highlighter. So there, a box is a half into 2 halves, okay? So my 2/4, 1, 2, is equal to how many halves? Here's 1/2 of that triangle. So you see how we're thinking backwards today? Whatever helps you to figure it out. If you want to grab a highlighter as you draw them and do that, draw them out, and then use the highlighter. So most of these we're just splitting into half, so it's pretty easy to see. I'll just be honest with you. It's not that hard. As a matter of fact, it's really easy. So 3, 6, 1, 2, 3 is equal to how many halves? Well, there's 2 halves. 3, 6 is one of those 2 halves, isn't it? So 3, 6 is also equal to 1/2. Look at these next two. They're both 1/2 of that rectangle, right? So I bet you can do this without me drawing It's 1/2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tenths is the same thing as 1/2. 1, 2, 3, 4 eighths is the same thing as 1/2. Do you see how this is half of the rectangle? This is half, 1/2 of the rectangle. Pretty easy, huh? 2, 6. Now we're going to thirds, okay? So we've got a third on the bottom. So 2, 6. Here's 1/3. Here's 1/3. And here's 1/3. How many of the thirds are shaded in? 1/3 is shaded in. So 2, 6 is the same as 1/3 being shaded in. This third and this third are not shaded in. Moving right along through this simple lesson. Okay, it's the opposite again. We have 2 eighths, but we want to make this fourths. So here's 1/4. Here's 2/4. 3/4. 4/4. So 2 eighths is equal to how many of those fourths? Just one of them. 2 eighths is equal to 1/4. 2 eighths is equal to 2 tenths, is equal to how many fifths? So we've got tenths. Now we're going to just do the fifths. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5. How many fifths are shaded in? 1/5. All right, so this is very simple today, but we've got to understand it to help us. It gets a little harder tomorrow or Monday. So 2/12, 1, 2 out of 12, but we've got to divide it in the sixths. So 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, 6, 6. So how many sixths is 2/12 equal to? 1/6. Okay, now, what happened to the size of the fractional units when you compose them? These are the same 2 questions as in your homework today, so pay attention. You're going to get the answer. So when we compose them, when we made them instead of 2 eighths, and we made them 1/4. So what happened to the size? Well, it went from this little part to this whole part. So the size got bigger, right? So they got bigger. And then what happened to the total number of units in the whole when you composed the fraction? Well, it went from 8 pieces to 4 pieces. So what happened to the total units? There were less, or there were fewer. We had 8 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But we made those eighths into fourths, so there were only 4 pieces. So there were fewer than there were when we compose them instead of decomposing them. All right, that's going to be a super easy homework assignment. Really easy. Just make sure you pay attention to these last 2. I made a multiple choice for you. All right, go get started to finish this week out. Have a great weekend.